What's going on, everybody? It's David Palmer, Leo King, and this is my show, Uncut Astrology, where I take off the mask or the veil, and I give you this week's astrological weekly forecast in a manner like you've never seen before. And this is for the week of December 2nd through the 8th of 2015. Now, before we go into the horoscope, make sure you check out my December 2015 horoscope. This one is an extreme horoscope. This month is so radical. It is so amazing. I can't wait for you to watch the horoscope. Get it now at inclusiveastrology.com. Now, we made it through the extreme woods. I say that because last week's energy was really intense. Now, there are some intense events coming here this week, but I think that there's a nice kind of balance of energy a little bit. I'll be honest, it's still not the most amazing of all weeks. Like, I'm just going to be honest with you. But I think that, what do I want to say in a whole about this week? You know, it really is a week where it's us kind of learning to trek out of our caves, trek out of the woods, I'd like to say. And we are now coming into some big decisions in our life. We're having to take action. The reason why I say that is the main events that are coming this week is Mars is about to square Pluto. Now, whenever Mars squares Pluto, both these planets deal with intensity. Both these planets are very harsh and strong. And when they come into squares and they come into cardinal signs like this is decision points in our life. Pluto and Capricorn especially, where are you going in your life? Where is it taking you? What are your goals? Where are you achieving? Where are you reaching for in your life? And Mars in Libra, who's coming on the ride with me? And who do I define myself with? Mars in Libra likes to identify with relationships. It likes to identify with the contracts it's with. It likes to identify with the negotiations that it has to do. But when it comes into a conflict with, Capricorn, it's like, we got places to go in life. We have to reach certain places. And sometimes we have to make tough choices on who we pick in our life and who's on the journey. And I think that this is going to be a week where the positive is you pick some amazing relationships. The negative is there's going to be some people that are hurt. You're dealing with Mars and Pluto. We're dealing with it in Capricorn. We're dealing with a 3/4 square of the moon this week in Virgo, which is a very critical sign, with Jupiter here, but there's all this pressure. The reason why? The Sun, Saturn, and Mercury, all in Sagittarius, making hard aspects to this 3/4 square of the moon to start off this week. So, it's like, in order to go the distance, in order to open the doors, we have to be a little bit critical. We have to be decisive. We have to say no to this and yes to this. And that can always be very difficult to deal with. The reason why I say that, Venus is leaving Libra this week and going to jump into Scorpio. Now, Venus in Libra shakes hands, makes deals, but Venus in Scorpio actually shows if they do it or not. Venus exposes it all. And when it's in Scorpio, it's like, oh, that was nice, you shook hands. But then when Venus gets into Scorpio, it's like, they were just shaking hands to get that deal, and they're really not going to go through with it. It also is where we dedicate 100%, not Libra. See, one thing about Libra is you have to understand this. When Venus is in Libra, it's all, lovey-dovey, trying to, I don't know how to be politically correct here, but it's a minor bullshit. Negotiations and being a diplomat is kind of saying what you got to say. Oh, let me give you this gift, or I'll give you a try, or let's try this. Scorpio is much different. It's like, no, you're an asshole and I don't like you. F you. So Venus coming into Scorpio here is going to bring up the truth finally, and I think it's going to bring out in all of us, and Saturn is out of Scorpio now. It's going to bring out of all of us, I want this and I don't want that anymore. Like, it's going to be very clear, especially as Mars comes into a square with Pluto, which is almost asking for change. It's demanding that we take action. It's demanding that we make change, and that might be very hard to put an end to something. Mars, when it squares Pluto, is put death to an action, especially it's in Libra, relationship. So this could be, where it's like, I'm done trying with these partners. I'm done going here, but I do definitely want to go this way. The other aspect of this is The Sun and Mars are in a sextile this week, which means that we have to start taking action. We have to start moving forward. I think that there's been a little bit of a pause I think we've all been a little shocked and awed from the Saturn-Neptune square, a little confused, a little unsure of where things are going. And now this is finally allowing us this week to have to take action. Now, it might feel like you're a little bit of a hippie stoned, you know, like, where are we at right now? A little Keanu Reeves action, you know, what are you doing? You don't know where to go. But we have to know where to go. You know, you have to start to make choices and actions. The reason why I say this, every planet is direct or moving forward except for Uranus. And guess what? At the end of this month, on Christmas, Uranus goes direct and all the planets will be moving forward. This is very rare. So the things we set up now are very important. Plus, this is Mercury, which squares Jupiter this week. We really need to start to see things, and we're forced to see big. We're forced to expand our thoughts. We're forced to also get really real. And I think this reality has to do with, you know, I think that we cannot sit on the fence anymore about, you know, who's going on the journey with us, where we're going, because this is a time where we need to go on that adventure. We need to express ourselves. We need to find that fire. It's Sagittarius. We need to go on the journey. We need to change. This is a time of change. When you get all this mutable energy, it's change time. And so it can feel like, oh my God, what a year we've been through. It's nonstop change. It's, you know, but this week is about starting to see bigger and be honest about it and not be over optimistic about bad things either. You know, it's like over optimistic over that relationship, you know, that's not going to work. It's like, and trying to pump it full of, you know, candy and gifts. Venus and Scorpio will not allow that. But that's what we want. Mercury square Jupiter is always like, oh yeah, it's all good, it's all good. Oh no, it's not that good. The reality really shows itself. This is also a time where Mercury is going to start to square the nodes by the end of this week. And I really feel that this is a time, now that the nodes are in Pisces and Virgo, it's like we need to be honest with ourselves. If we look at our vision, what's reality and what is, you know, where we're maybe getting lost or we're trying to escape through certain things. And this is a week where we just need to just move forward. It's not too fast either or not too explosive. It's just like, you know what? I want to do this and I don't want to do that. And it's just about the separation or getting off or hanging off the fence. The reason why I say this is by this time next week, December 8th, 9th, 10th, when the new moon is going to happen on the 10th and 11th, this is when Mars is going to oppose Uranus, and this is when Venus is going to trine Neptune. So this week we really have to start, and of course, and I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but the way that astrology works is the buildup of planetary events, you start to see the things happen. The second the planetary event happens, which will be on December 10th and 11th, it's like it already has come to fruition. So this is the week of us really having to face the relationship stuff. And I think a lot of it also has to do with yourself, like where are you hanging on the fence still? Where are you waiting around? Where are you weighing things out? Venus in Scorpio knows its desires, and it knows what it wants, and it knows what it's going to get, and it has to get it. It has to receive it. And the moon's also going to come through Libra this week, so it's going to come through Virgo, Libra, and then finish in Scorpio. And these energies are very deep, very personable, but they really deal with the fine line between weighing things out too much and actually having to dedicate, because the moon will conjunct Venus this week in Scorpio, trine over to Neptune that's gone direct. And I think that this is like, we're feeling called and we know what we got to do. And you got to not be afraid to put an end to something this week. Mars square Pluto is fear of taking action or putting an end to something. And to be honest with you, it's a mercurial week. Trying to understand it with Mars, it's also a Mars week, is not easy. But at the end of the day, it really does bring us to this place where I think at the end of this week we realize, I know what I want. I don't want that. I want to be partnered with this. This is the kind of people I want. And it's time to start, it's instead of having like, you're talking to 20 people in your life, it's like, why? I should probably just talk to these 4. These are the 4 that I really are worth talking to, because what happens is distraction. We get distracted in Sagittarius. We try to open up too many doors. We try to open up too many things. And this is a time where it's trying to teach us it's important to open up doors, but it's important to focus on certain doors instead of like getting lost in the world of wonder. It's like going to Disneyland and not knowing which ride to go on. It's like, let's get the map out and let's pick a effing ride. Like, come on. I hate when I go to Disneyland with people and they're like, oh yeah, well we can go over here and then we can go over there and then, oh, let's go over here. It's like, oh my gosh, why don't we get a little bit of a plan going? That's Saturn and Sag. And, sometimes you have to break apart from the group, right? Whenever you're at Disneyland with your friends, you're like, okay, all right, Joe and Christy and Billy and whatever, you're like, hey, we all want to go on Space Mountain. Let's go. Let's ditch these guys. We'll meet back up with them later. There's kind of that energy going on right now in the universe because at the end of the day, some people waste time, some people aren't connected in the right way with you, and this is a time to get what you want, what you need, and you're about to dig really deep inside and find that. And at the end of the day, this is the last week because by next week, Mercury comes into Capricorn and we have a new moon. This is the last week of kind of like finalization of this last, well, I'd want to say, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard because there's been so much astrology, but we're at like the last I just said it, the last dingleberries of things here that need to be cut. Just the last ones, okay? And snip it this week, It's not easy. Mars in Libra doesn't want to snip it. Mars in Libra is like, no, we got it. We told each other we liked each other. It's like, Venus in Scorpio, though, is like, hey, I don't even want to be with this. It's Medusa, out there. It's like, it also is kind of like a beautiful woman or even man, who knows what they want in sex. It's like, sorry, you're not hot. I don't want you. That's hard to tell somebody. But you have to this week. That's going to come up. That also comes with projects. That comes with, other situations in your life. Like you have to come into this point now where it's like, okay, I'm not even attracted to this, or I don't want this in my life, and why am I holding on to it? And I just need to just go and move on. And you know what? If that happens back to you, because guaranteed it will in some shape, form, or manner happen back to you, you need to be okay with it and see that there are multiple other doors opening here. And focus on the doors that you want. At the end of the day, you're going to see what's reality and what's fantasy. And maybe you were just caught up in a fantasy, or maybe you were just wasting your time, or maybe you were just floating. This week will show you where you've been wasting your time because you've been distracted by holding on to things that you don't need anymore. Get me on my app, Apple and Android, or leoking.looksack.com to get my daily horoscopes. And of course, get the December 2015 horoscope. It's at my website, inclusiveastrology.com. It'll blow your mind, and it's so awesome. Thank you for all the support. I appreciate it so much on the Leo King channel. And thank you for subscribing here on YouTube. I truly appreciate it. And I will see you on my next video.